Do I receive complimentary tickets, flights, hotels, food, or anything from the parks I visit? And do I make a lot of money on YouTube? You might be surprised. One of the questions I get a lot, or that I see a lot of assumptions about online, is that if you do YouTube videos, that the parks are handing you stuff hand and fist, they're paying your trips, they're covering your food, they're doing all sorts of stuff for you. In fact, I actually had somebody ask a few days ago, do I receive complimentary tickets or flights or hotels from the parks when I visit? It's always fun when you visit message boards and they talk about how all these people on YouTube are getting everything comped for them, and it makes it kind of interesting. so let me give you a long answer to a short answer here, and kind of explain how it works, what we do get, what we don't get, and kind of where I fit into things. The way I fit into the grand scope of things is I'm just short of 30,000 subscribers. That puts me somewhere in the top 2 to 3% of YouTubers. Yeah, it's that hard to get that big, and I'm not that big. But I'm up in that small little percentage. I make a little bit of money off of YouTube, and it's enough to get noticed. I don't make much. Most of the time, people think of the big, huge YouTubers like the Trackers or Brian Hull or Adam the Woo or some of them, and they'll have 1 or 2 million subscribers. They are basically in the top 10th of a percent. 99.9% of YouTubers never come close to that. In fact, 95% of YouTubers never make a penny. So if you think you're just going to go on YouTube, throw some videos together, and make lots of money, it ain't going to happen. So I'm just letting you know now. But I make a small amount, enough to get some notice from the parks. How much? Well, not as much as you might think. Basically, parks don't pay me anything. I don't receive anything from them, and it's extremely rare I get anything comped. Disney has never given me anything. Universal has never given me anything. Six Flags has never given me anything. The Cedar Fair parks have never given me... You get the idea. They don't pay me. They don't cover my tickets. They don't cover food. They don't do anything like that. And there is a process I do go through because I am just big enough. When I get ready to go visit a park or a business, a tourist attraction, I send them an email or I call, I contact them in some way. And I basically say, here's who I am. My name is George, also known as SirWillow. I'm getting ready to come visit your place. I just want to kind of cover permissions and see what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not, because I don't want to do anything that would not be appropriate. The first thing I do is I ask for their guidelines and their rules and if I have permissions to shoot. And there actually have been a couple places that said, no, sorry, no video footage. Okay, probably won't visit then, but that's how it is. And that's what I do. I don't ask for anything. And every now and then somebody will offer something, but I always plan on covering my tickets one way or the other. Now, I've had a couple attractions here in Branson, notably the Branson Mountain Coaster, Wonderworks, and a couple others, Bigfoot, that said, hey, you're coming? Sure, we'll let you ride everything free. We'll comp you for this one time. It blew me away because I wasn't expecting it, didn't ask for it, but my budget's small enough? Sure. And Branson Mountain Coaster, I knew the manager, so it made for a common tie and easy to work out. That's rare. Wonderworks, the reason I got a comp in was because it was their media days where they were inviting the local TV stations and newspapers and vloggers and stuff to come on in and explore it free and give them free promotion. So that's how I got in on that, because I was one of those and I happened to call at just the right time, and they said, hey, we've got the day coming up in 2 days. Why don't you come then? Okay. Silver Dollar City, I got in behind the scenes on the train because I used to work there and I knew the people and I knew the routines. Generally, that would have been a huge no on what I did behind the scenes with the train, but I was able to work some ties and they knew me. That's how that worked out. That's very unusual. The one other times I have actually been offered something was on the Pennsylvania trip. Now, Craig, one of my patrons and my friend, basically covered almost everything. I didn't pay very much, but Kennywood offered us the free picnic pavilion. They had offered us drink cups. Well, we actually had already got those as part of our season pass kit. And Kennywood did make an offer to me to come in early on one day we were there because they had another very well-known YouTuber that was going to be there that morning filming on the rides. And since he was there already, they would let me come in and do the same thing. And I was like, cool, who is it? And then when they told me, I went, maybe not. Not somebody I'm really interested in being associated with. And so I passed on that, but gave them my gratitude for it. Knoebels also was very gracious, and they actually, for our group of 4, they gave us 2 one-day ride tickets where we were allowed to ride the rides. That was not expected, but very graciously accepted. Was not expecting it, didn't ask for it. But that was very nice. That's honestly the only times I can think of that a park has given me anything. Generally, if it's a larger park, I oftentimes don't even hear back from them. So, nope, don't get anything comped. My hotels, I cover my plane fares, my food, and all that. It comes out of my pocket, sort of. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But there are some larger producers, I mentioned a couple of them, that when they reach 1 million subs, 1.5 million, at that point the parks do notice them because they are so big. I mean, hey, if you got 1 million views guaranteed, you kind of want to pay attention to that. So they may actually get notice. They may get some comps and stuff because they know they're going to get good views. They are the rare exception to that. And it's kind of up to them on whether they accept it or not. And that varies from person to person. I do not begrudge somebody accepting comp tickets. Not a bit. You know, it's part of the deal. When you are in media, if you are a news media or whatever, it's considered free advertising and part of it. So you kind of go along with that. But I'm not that big. They don't notice me. So, 1 million views versus 30,000, you're talking 30 times the size of me to get noticed. And if I were to ever reach 150, 200,000 subs, maybe they would, but I don't expect that. So, really what I do right now, the way I cover it is out of what the channel brings in. And it may be probably not as much as you think. Advertising revenue on YouTube, plus my YouTube members, people who sign up to support me through YouTube, I get an average of about $200 to $250 a month. That's actually not bad. That's doing pretty good considering the size of my channel. But no, it's definitely not rich money. And it covers a few basic expenses. Honestly, most of that money kind of goes into covering bills here at home. Where most of my money on the channel comes from is through Patreon and then people buying merchandise. Merchandise is a little tiny bit, but Patreon is my main support. My patrons on Patreon pledge monthly, and on average, I get anywhere from $600 to $800 a month or so from that. That money actually all goes back into the channel. It goes to pay for those hotels. It goes to pay for the food. It goes to pay for my annual passes, because I buy my passes to Six Flags, to Silver Dollar City. I will be buying passes to Cedar Fair, that whole chain. So yeah, that's where that money comes from. Traveling expenses, gas, hotels, all comes from my patrons. In fact, my flights, when I do fly, is actually courtesy of one of my other patrons who has made provisions for me to fly at a big discount on standby. That basically means I get to fill in empty seats on a plane if there are any going where I'm wanting to go. And if there aren't any, then I wait for the next flight and hope there's some on it. And if not, then I wait for the next flight and hope there's some on it. And I may not get on one. So that's kind of how that works. And I'm very gracious for that. It's also why with my patrons, they get extra benefits because they're helping make those things happen. And it's a way to thank them. So the behind the scenes, how I produce stuff, how I create things. I do video calls with certain groups of them every other month, and I'm actually due to start setting that up for November really quick. But I've actually become friends with a lot of my patrons because of that contact, because of the relationship building, and it's allowed me to do a number of other things. And my patrons are my biggest support. The Disneyland and Disney World trips that we did a couple years ago, they're because of one of my patrons, Alex at Teach Us Media. He's the one who made that happen. The Paris trip, that was from Leo, and Leo's not technically a patron, but he supports me in a lot of other ways. Craig, who has been extremely generous, has made a number of things happen, and there's more happening because of their generosity. My budget doesn't allow it, but because of them, I can do more. And if those finances increase, I get to do even more. But that's what's helping make this next year possible. There is going to be patron money that's going to help the Israel trip. That's going to make my cat stop clawing the carpet behind me. But you're going to get to see things in Israel because of what they do to help support. And yes, I am planning on bringing stuff back from Israel for each of my patrons and YouTube members as a way to say thank you for what they do for me. So that's kind of the long answer to, do I get stuff? Sometimes, but it's rare. For the most part, I pay for it myself, and the way I pay for it is thanks to my supporters. So hope that answers your questions about how it works for me, as well as gives you some insight into others. If you've got more questions, let me know. Please comment below, share them in the comments. I'll be happy to respond or reply, or maybe do another video reply later on. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much to my supporters, though, for all that they do. I honestly am so grateful. It's more than I ever dreamed, and we've had amazing opportunities because of them. So if you want to know more about that, check the description below. There is a link there. Thank you so much, though, for being part of this amazing journey that's been, and for your support, financial or just watching. It's been a blessing. Thank you so much. God bless. Ding. Yeah, come on, turn off. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.